it really bothers me when fans don't get it, or they don't like it, or they don't like realize how awesome it is to be a professional wrestling fan right now. Like, I dreamed of something like this happening back in the day, and now it's actually happening. You should be like,
What's up, Bengal fans? It's your host, Joey Karni, and I want to thank you for clicking on this video. It was an amazing experience, and I can't wait for you to watch the full episode and enjoy it just as much as I did filming it. Now, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe down below to stay up to date with all the Angles activity right here on YouTube. Now enjoy the show. Let's go, let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new episode of the Angle Podcast. Today, I'm here with a very special guest. He is a former X Division champion and probably one of the most persistent superstars on the Impact Wrestling roster. Ladies and gentlemen, Rohit Raju. How are you, sir? And welcome.
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm great, man. I'm glad to have you on and to talk a little bit.
Let's talk.
Awesome. So the last few months of your career have been quite of a roller coaster, ups and downs here and there. But ultimately, you walked into Bound for Glory, which is Impact's biggest event of the year, as the X Division champion. What did that mean for you to have that opportunity, but to also successfully defend your title?
It was great because I remember, is that the one that like it was all 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. that was something. It felt great because everyone thought for sure I was walking out without it. And to walk out with the gold still wrapped around my waist was fantastic. It was just adding more fuel to the fire and to the heat. So it was perfect for me. And to go out there and just pick my spots and just do Rohit, it was tremendous. And it's such a good feeling being almost nobody for the majority of the year and then walking in as champion on one of the main pay-per-views. Man, that feeling, I can't even describe it. It's like what you've always worked for and wanted, and then you walk out as champion. It's tremendous, absolutely tremendous.
Of course. And I did speak to you before on the Bound for Glory Press Pass podcast that Impact gave me the opportunity to be on. And you spoke a little bit about what the X Division Championship meant to you. So if you can kind of elaborate on that, what does it truly mean to you?
Well, look at the history and who's held it. And being the X Division champion means you are one of the main guys. So a lot of the focus is on you, and they are depending on you to perform at the highest level. And I felt like I did that. And one of the things I like to do, like I recently said it, I'm not a stereotypical X Division guy where it's a lot of fireworks, this. No, I'm a big fan of the character work. I'm a big fan of slowing things down, a lot of in-between things, a lot of small things that you may or may not catch. I'm a huge fan of that. Then fireworks, and then boom, back down. I want to be the direct opposite of everybody else. So if everybody else is doing like 10 Canadian destroyers, I don't want to do any, something like that. So being able to be me as X Division champion, them giving me a microphone in my hand and saying, hey, go out there and say what you got to say. Man, it was tremendous. It was such a great feeling. And you know what? It was comfortable. And being comfortable in that position allows me to perform at the highest level because I'm just out there being me. And I can't describe that or, maybe not make that make more sense than what I'm saying. But man, it's just such a great feeling. Like there's really no pressure. It's because you're living the dream that you've been chasing, and now you have it, and now you're hungry. You're even hungry. You want to prove everybody wrong and show them that you deserve to be champion. So it was great, man. And being that champion, holding that championship belt was just an awesome feeling.
And during that run, it was quite significant because you didn't just have one opponent every time you defended the title. It was multiple opponents every time you defended that title, which is pretty different than what we're used to seeing with, title defenses in general. How did it affect your confidence to know that you were going up against multiple opponents and then come out on the other end successful?
It's good because each of these people that were normally in my match were people that they wanted to see as champion, like fans wanted to see as champion. And being able to prove them wrong and continue to show your worth, whether people recognize it or not, like you have to recognize it sooner or later. You may not like me, you may not like how I go about things, you may not like my style, but you can't sit there and say, well, this guy sucks. Nah, I don't suck. I know my worth. I know I'm far from sucking, and I deserve to be X Division champion. So none of that ever bothers me, but it does make me feel good being in the ring with these individuals, beating them, and then being able to, stick it to their fan base a little harder each time. So yeah, it's a good feeling, especially nowadays, because people just love to do a lot of this on social media. So being able to stick that fork in there and be like, just deeper, every single time, it feels great. And then obviously I get my comeuppance, but in the meantime, I'm having a blast.
Awesome. And during that run, you were champion for 120 days. Quite a significant run. Final resolution, there's a halt on your title reign. Manic defeats you for the title. And you've been persistent, like I said at the beginning of the show, you've been very persistent to get that title back. What do you think you need to do in order to get back on top of the X Division?
Well, right now I have a roadblock with James Storm. So obviously that I got to take care of all that. And who knows what will happen? Who knows what will happen with the X Division title by the time I get back around to it? But who knows? Maybe I'll have to take a detour from the X Division title, go after some tag titles with Shira and myself. Maybe I'll have to go after TNA title, maybe the world title. I do want to be a 2-time X Division champion just because that belt, it was the first title I held at Impact. And the way I lost it and with the mask and all that stuff, it left with a bad taste in my mouth. So I do want to get it. I think I had it, like you said, I felt like I had a great run as champion. I try to do a lot of different things with it, with social media, being the belt was my best friend. So I thought that was a little bit different. And now it makes me, when I get back into that position, how do I be different? How do I up the ante? How do I up my game? So it just gets my creative juices flowing and it gets the fire burning even brighter. But who knows? Maybe the X Division won't be the belt around my waist. Maybe it'll be a different title around my waist.
Of course. And that kind of leads me to two of my next questions, actually. You're going to be on Before the Impact, BTI, which is Impact's new show before Impact on Tuesdays. And you're with Shara, and you're going against James Storm. Do you think that this could possibly be leading to a tag team title run with Shara?
Yeah, if we can, well, obviously he has James Storm has Chris Sabin out there. I think Shara is a lot better now than he was when we first got together. Plus, we know each other a lot better as well. He's in OVW every single Tuesday in the ring. He's been training. So his in-ring work is just going to be much better than it was before. And then I think the chemistry between him and I, hopefully we start to click. There's a couple things, him not holding TJ's arm, he kind of nudged me in. I bumped into James Storm. I should say James Storm. He shouldn't have been that close to me anyways, but it is what it is. Now we'll deal with it tonight. But as long as we can start to gel, I do think tag team belts are in our future. We were gunning for it before. We couldn't really get both feet off the ground. Different time, different place. I've grown better, as an individual and a professional wrestler. I think he is as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And you kind of touched on it before with the TNA world title. Now that it's officially back in commission, creating new opportunities for everyone on the roster. Do you see yourself as being someone to go after that championship?
Sure. If there's the opportunity there, I will take advantage of the opportunity. If I can plot and scheme to make the opportunity happen, we can do that as well. Moose his head's so far up in the clouds. A lot of times he doesn't see anything around him. He doesn't get it. So I don't think it'd be that hard. Getting in the ring and taking it from him might be a thing. But if I have Shira there, we might be able to work something out where I can outsmart that big dummy and take that belt off of him.
Of course. And upcoming Saturday, March 13th, Impact presents Sacrifice, the next pay-per-view for Impact. What will be your part in this event?
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Everything's up in the air for me right now. I'm just kind of floating around. I got this thorn in my side, Cowboy James Storm, that I have to pull out, throw away, and make sure that that cowboy rides off into the sunset. And then, of course, Saban, another Michigan guy, another guy that I looked up to when I used to watch TNA back in the day, Motor City Machine Guns, X-Division champion. If he wants to stake his nose in our business, well, I would love to get in the ring with him as well. So we'll see what happens. This might have some wheels. It might not. I want to do a one and done, lay him out, drive by knee, goodbye from Mumbai, and 1, 2, 3, and move on to bigger and better things, even though he is very bigger and better at the moment. That means beating him puts me in higher contention for another belt. So we'll see what happens. I just, I don't want to stick with this too long because I know it can get kind of muddy, but I got to get the win tonight and move on. We'll see.
Of course. And we kind of touched on the X Division Championship here and there throughout our conversation. And I kind of said before that your run has been really significant from the things that you've done. You're a champion, but with an underdog story, as everyone's, was coming after you for that title. And you did such a good job that it brought, I think, like a new light to the Impact X Division. What do you think is next for Rohit on Impact Wrestling? Whether it be a title, whether it be a feud, knowing that you bring such a different perspective to everything you do.
That is my main thing, is staying fresh and also being different. I would like to tone it back a little bit. Like, I thought some of my best work was at No Surrender with TJP. It was very aggressive. It was attack, attack, attack. The style of match, that we had, it was the culmination of pretty much since him, myself, and Bay first met when I took the X Division Championship last year. So, I mean, that's a storied history. And it was a little bit more serious. And I would like to kind of go into more of that route. I like to entertain. I like to joke around. It just comes natural for me sometimes. But I think the more aggressive I am, the more intense I am, the better it is. So I'd like to, try to portray more of that. But also I still like to entertain too. So we kind of, it's like a double-edged sword. You got to find out what works and then stick with it. I do want to stay as the main player. Being in a match with James Storm is good for me because he's an Impact legend. Chris Saban's there. He's an Impact legend. So that's more eyes on me, which is really good for me. And then I think being in the ring with a guy like him, it can show that I can be in there with anybody, and out wrestle and outperform and do stuff like that. It can show that I can be consistent and continue to deliver results. Honestly, though, if a title run or feud or shot isn't in my future at the moment, when he's all said and done with Violent by Design, I would really like to rekindle my feud that I've had with him for years on the indies and Impact Wrestling. And I'm going to call out Jake something right now. Hey, when he's all said and done with what he's got going on, he can come find his boy and we can tear it up at Impact. So we'll see what happens.
And
I'll put it into the universe. If not, just put me in the world title picture. I'll make that very different.
Yeah, and Jake Sung is doing some phenomenal things right now, so I think that would be an excellent direction for you and him as well. But one of the bigger things happening in Impact Wrestling that's been going on for quite some time now, Impact, All Elite Wrestling, this back and forth stuff that's going on. I don't want to call it a crossover because I'm not sure what exactly to call it. But what are your thoughts on this whole AEW Impact situation?
I think it's really cool because as a kid, I remember wanting to see something like this for the longest time. And I think it's great that it's happening. Now, I am getting sick and tired of Tony Khan showing up with these paid advertisements. I mean, I can do some guerrilla work. If Impact wants to lend me a cameraman, I can cut a promo and just obliterating their entire roster with just a microphone. I've put that out there, but I haven't heard. I never got a green light, so I guess that might not happen. So, but I'm pulling that out there. But they have a ton of talent, so it's their fans, putting eyes on our product and vice versa, which is really cool. I hope something deeper happens where it is a crossover. Seeing Kenny in our ring was fantastic. Watching him and Swan go at it is just awesome. And then seeing the Good Brothers over there, it's great, man. It's really cool. And I think it really bothers me when fans don't get it, or they don't like it, or they don't like realize how awesome it is to be a professional wrestling fan right now. Like, I dreamed of something like this happening back in the day, and now it's actually happening. You should be like head over heels and wanting more of it. So I'll never understand the hate and the negativity surrounding companies like that, but you know, it is what it is. I think it's a tremendous thing, and I'm glad it's happening.
I couldn't agree.
Although I do want to obliterate their entire roster on the microphone. So, you know.
Of course. And like I said, I can't agree with you more. It's one of those things that people have dreamt about, have wanted for so long, but having so many different companies and different politics here and there, it's kind of been something that, you know, nobody really wanted to go there. And seeing it now happen, you know, in front of our eyes is really, really cool to see. And that kind of pushed me into my next question here with what you just said. Do you see yourself getting involved in this type of situation with AEW?
I would love to. I would love to go lock horns with Sonny Kiss. I've put me versus Sting into the universe a million times. I just want to be in the ring with Sting. He was one of my favorite wrestlers as a kid, even if it was a backstage segment. I think I love to see Sting. Anytime he comes out, he just has that presence. And I think when people talk about greats, they don't mention his name enough. Like, his run in the NWA was fantastic as Surfer Sting, and then reinventing himself as Crow Sting. It's just tremendous, man. And then when he was in or not WWE, but when he was in Impact doing the Joker Sting thing, he's reinvented himself over the years, and it's so good to see him like come back again and resurface. And I would love to be a part of that. But like, Sonny, I think it'd be amazing. I think Sonny's so talented. I would love to get in the ring with any of their guys, go on the microphone with a Jericho or a MJF, you know, something of that nature. Private Party, me and Shira, locking horns with those guys. The possibilities are endless, and I would love to be a part of it if it ever goes down.
Wow, you know, everything you just said it makes me excited as a wrestling fan, because it's stuff that we all want to see, and I know somewhere down the line, it could quite possibly happen. So I want to thank you for coming on to talk a little bit about, you know, career, what you have going on. Where could the fans, everyone watching right now, where could they find you on social media and follow you to hear more from you?
Well, on Twitter, it's at Hakeem Zane. That's HAKIMZANE. Raju Zane 80 on Instagram. If you look up Rohit Raju / Mad Dragon Hakeem Zane, you can find me on Facebook. And then, of course, I talk a lot about my school, the Dragon's Den Pro Wrestling Academy, which just opened back up in Bay City, Michigan, training a lot of guys out there, always having people drop in, which is awesome. On shopimpact.com, they just dropped the first ever official Rohit Raju t-shirt. It's been selling really well. If you get a chance, go copy one. Of course, you have prowrestlingtees.com/Rohit, where I have my own personalized t-shirts. And then, of course, you can hit me up on social media. I'm always sending out 8x10s, autographs for fans and stuff like that. I'm always trying to stay interacting with people because it is the lifeblood of professional wrestling, especially now with social media. So, but that's where you can find me at. And of course, you can find me on Access TV every Tuesday, 8 p.m. on Impact Wrestling.
Awesome, man. I'm excited for what you have planned going forward. I'm excited for what's going to be happening in Impact Wrestling. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk. It's been a pleasure, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity, and I'm just excited to see what goes next.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Let's go, let's go!